Hi, my name is Veronika. I'm a freediving instructor at Freedive Gili here on Gili Travangan. I've been living on the island for a year now, finished my freediving instructor course exactly a year ago, and I'm loving it. I'm also a scuba diver. I started scuba diving 8 years ago, became a scuba diving instructor 7 years ago. Yeah, I love all things underwater and would like to share my story with you guys.
Thank you, Veronika. Can you tell us a little bit more about your first experience diving?
My very first experience diving, I was absolutely petrified. Yeah, I hated the sea with a passion. I grew up in Germany, landlocked. Yeah, the sea was something you went to on holiday, and I was happy to go in about knee deep, paddling around near shoreside, and was scared of everything that was in the sea. 8 years ago, I went to Thailand with my best friend. She decided she wants to do her open water. And because I generally am somebody who is very easily convinced to participate in things, she said, please do it with me. And I said, all right, you know what, I'm going to do it. But the moment I don't like it, I'm out of there and you can continue this course on your own. We both finished the open water. She hasn't been in the water since. I continued on with my journey to become a dive professional. So you just never know where things take you.
That's super exciting. Okay, so what is actually diving for you in the moment?
For me, diving at the moment is, I've made my hobby my life at the moment, as being part as a freediving instructor. I became a part-time scuba diving instructor while I was still living in the UK. And diving became something I weirdly had never found with anything else in my life before. It fulfilled some weird need, some weird passion I didn't know that I had, and it kind of took over my life very, very quickly, so that every spare minute I had, every moment I could get, it would be either in the sea or in the pool, training scuba diving, later on training free diving. I researched diving, I read about diving, I watched films about diving, and all my friends suddenly, sort of the people that very close to, were mostly divers for some bizarre reason suddenly. It was something I never expected to find in any kind of hobby, in any way or shape or form, and that happened. So it's everything, really.
Super inspiring. Um, okay, then I guess you would recommend somebody that never dived to try diving, right?
I think everyone should go diving a try at some stage, simply because we live in a very fast living, loud, noisy world. We get an incredible amount of input all day long through data, phones, apps, videos, everything that goes on around us. And the moment you go underwater, all of that disappears, all of that is no longer important. You have no phone that works down there, you have no Kindle you can read down there, there's no television, it's just you, yourself, of course your buddy because you're never on your own, but you get a chance to get to know yourself in a way you wouldn't do necessarily somewhere else. Well, for me that was the case, and I think it's important to have an hour or two a week, a day, a month, whenever you find where you can do that, where you can just be with yourself and get away from everything.
Can you share any stories that stand out from your diving experience with us?
Oh, there's so many. Over the last 8 years, I've had so many incredible experiences. I had some scary experiences, yeah. One of the funniest things for me that always comes back is when you start first working as a dive professional, you always fear about losing students. You're like constantly turning around as a guide or early instructors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're still all there. They're all there. And I remember going on this one dive in England of a little beach called Porthcaris, shore dive, and visibility wasn't the best. And I turned around and did 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So somehow I hadn't lost some. I found some. So they obviously got lost on the shore there. They didn't know the site and they came back out with me. But I think it doesn't happen very often that an instructor ends up with more divers than they actually originally went in for. That was one of my favorite moments, because these two divers then consequently joined our dive club and became good friends. I'm still in contact with today. So I found them underwater. So, And many others. I had some great stuff happening, whether it was learning how to dive my rebreather in Egypt, where I was one of two girls on a boat full of technical divers, you know, which was first 2 days you're the princess and the rest of the week you're one of the lads, you know. It's just, yeah, and I've had some amazing stuff happening to me, so I can't really pinpoint too many stories. I would sit here all day and talk about it. It's been great.
Which is your favorite place to dive so far?
Ooh, so far, and I have to say, I was stuck in the UK a long time, and then dived. Probably my very favorite site at the moment is a place called Montaña Amarillo in Tenerife. I like underwater rock formations. Yeah, yes, of course we all love fish and small fish, big fish, and all the usual thing. But I love the play of colors and sunlight and the way rocks can be shaped by the sea and the different forms they can take. And the Yellow Mountain, Montaña Amarillo in Tenerife, is an amazing site to scuba as well as freedive.
Is there any piece of advice you would like to give to people who are planning their first actually, sorry, dive vacation?
I have to say, if you can afford it, yeah, go on a liveaboard holiday. Yeah, liveaboard is the best thing. You eat, you sleep, you dive, and you repeat. It's amazing, you know. And the best thing about it is you're thrown in with a group of people, and there might be, I don't know, in my case, it was a taxi driver, it was a brain surgeon, it was a pilot, it was a secretary, and no one cares. You all look the same for a week. You all have the same dive equipment for a week. You all smell the same for a week, you know. So it's brilliant. It's just people come together and you underwater you're all the same. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, how much money you have. You know, it all boils down to looking out for each other, and that's what I really can just do it. If you can afford it, do it. Liverpool holiday. It's the best thing ever.
Awesome. How do you imagine the perfect week of diving for you?
The perfect week of diving. Okay, you go on a holiday. You have 7 days. You go for the first 3 days. You go free diving, yeah, and then for the rest 4 days you go scuba diving. If you're lucky enough to be a rebreather diver, you chuck a couple of rebreather dives in there as well, just to have a little bit longer bubble-free diving and really make the most out of a good dive site.
That's great. Okay, well, how do you see the diving world evolve in the future?
Going mainly from my background I had in the UK, because this is where I spent most of my dive career until last year, is I know that you have the old guys, the old dudes, the originals, and they're obviously sort of fading away, yeah, because of age, because of how life goes, you know, at some stage they can't do it anymore. And you have a lot of young guns that come afterwards, you know, the students that do it for a year and two and then they disappear. Yeah, so it is to find this balance to get people still excited, to keep them coming back, to do diving, to stay diving in their mid-30s and mid-40s. In all honesty, you know, they're the people who can afford it as well in every, you know, whether it's technical diving, whether it's liveaboard holidays and all this, you know. So it's just to try to keep it interesting for them. So that it's not just the young people's sport or something that you know, the older generations did. I think at the moment diving is portrayed a lot in the media. You see a lot of stuff going on in videos, in commercials, in films. Funny enough, a lot of freediving is popping up a lot. You know, maybe it's nicer to film people in the natural way of moving rather than clunky scuba gear. But I think it brings people to scuba diving as well. So media can help, social media can help, definitely. And also the aspect of the whole plastic pollution we have and this massive problem we are facing with killing our planet by this plastic in the ocean. The more awareness you bring into that, the more people will be drawn to the ocean and the more the diving industry will grow from there, I think.
You're this amazing mermaid who is mastering actually all the types of breathing underwater, which is fantastic. It's quite unique. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience? What is the difference between the different type of breathing underwater? Maybe explain what is the different kind of breathing underwater, because maybe some of the people wouldn't know. Yeah.
So scuba diving versus free diving versus CCR diving, yeah, in my world. Simply very cornily said, and I think many people have read it before somewhere because it pops up across social media ever so often is scuba diving is for you're going in the water and you're in there to look outside. You're there to spend an hour, 40 minutes, however deep you are, to look at the stuff around you. Freediving is you look inside yourself, yeah, because freediving happens a lot in the mind, yeah. It's a mental process, and CCR you just spend a lot longer down there, yeah. So it's both can create different kind of passions, yeah. You have in freediving you have the sport aspect, you know. Yes, of course it is a sport, you know. You have people who go on the line, they try to go deep, they go long in the pool, they like to hold their breath as long as possible, but you can take this away and take it to the reef, yeah, diving with whales, with mantas, with dolphins, just hanging out as a spearfisher, you know. So you can take different aspects from that and apply it to so many different things. You also can take freediving abilities to scuba diving, yeah, in order to work with your maybe how to work through a panic moment, how to learn breath control a little bit better by deeper controlling your breath with deeper inhalations and slower exhalations, slowing your heartbeat down because you know how to control this, how to work with something that we call mammalian dive reflex. So I know a lot of technical divers that do free diving as well, just because they have to go through different stages of mental processes when they have to do their skills and drills where they just can't come up, you know, because they have to watch deco stops and their decompression times. So you can combine the whole thing, yeah, and this is what makes it so incredible for me, because you have so many different aspects that come together, and every single one of them give you their own little thing that make you happy, that make you feel like you've achieved something, give you a natural high in a way, very weird way, for me anyway. So yeah, it's, yeah.
Okay, so which one of those is your favorite and why?
Personally, at the moment, probably freediving because I do it more, yeah. And I have the feeling that I personally gain a lot from freediving for myself. Freediving has given me a different angle of how I work with my life, my personal life, how I arrange my life, how I work with life and situations in life, to the point where I gave up my job, yeah, to become a freediving instructor. I mean, originally I was going to be a scuba diving instructor and a freediving instructor, and then I came here and this opportunity opened up and I said, I'm staying, thank you very much, and I love it. I love sharing this, and I love how people find confidence in themselves they never knew they had. Yes, you get that in scuba as well, but in freediving, the eureka moment for some people about how much longer they can hold their breath than they thought, or they can go to 10 meters, which they never thought they would be, is a lot bigger and hence more rewarding for me as an instructor.
Oh, let's talk a little bit more then about freediving. I'm super curious. I told you, like, I'm a scuba diver so far only,
Yeah.
but I'm super interested about freediving. So what was your first experience of freediving?
I hated it. Now, I had this lovely friend in England who did her scuba diving instructor at the same dive school I was working, and then she went off to Dahab and did her freediver and became level 1 freediving instructor, and she came home and I was like, all right, what's this malarkey then? Come on, let's try this out, because I try everything if I have to, yeah. And it was her very sweet and she was a very gentle person, you know, and lovely person. And she introduced me to my very first sort of snorkeling reef freediving session. I was like, all right, this is cool. Yeah, so I'm now going to go and book myself onto my level 1 course, which I did with another lovely lady who runs a dive school down in Porthcaris in England, Georgina Miller, and we did it in, I think, September, October. So conditions weren't the best, so visibility was low. There was a lot of surge, and I had to do my 200-meter swim in the sea, yeah, which wasn't fun. And then we went to the rope, and before that, my freediving experience was over the reef, and now we're going upside down on rope. I don't like being upside down. I was never the kid that dangled, you know, on the playground from a tree or something, and I was like pulling myself down this rope. I said, this is a stupid idea. Who had this? And I was absolutely petrified. I couldn't hold my breath longer than 53 seconds. I remember this to this day. It was 53 seconds when we sat with stopwatch in the classroom. I've got students here who do it in the yoga shala that do 2 minutes. I have no idea how they do this because I couldn't. Freediving for me was an absolute challenge. It didn't come easy to me. I was scared. I wanted to throw up. I get seasick a lot, so I was constantly sick. I was like, you couldn't see anything because we were in the open water, in the green water in the UK. It was freezing. But somehow it fascinated me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get better at this. And every second I achieved was hard fought for. Every meter was hard fought. Equalization sucked for me at the beginning. It was so difficult. Still is. You meet all these amazing people here who come and they go to 20 meters in 2 days. It took me 10 months to get to 20 meters. It took me another 10 months to get to 30 meters, and some people do it in a week here. So if anyone understands frustration, it's me. But for some bizarre reason, I love the whole philosophy about freediving, how my personal background of work was very busy, was very, long days, long hours I didn't have, and suddenly I had something that made sense to do: sport and meditation and mindfulness, bloody hell, nutrition. I suddenly was like, oh no, let's eat healthily because it's good for freediving. Obviously before that it made no sense to be healthy because why would you? But suddenly I had all these things that came together for a sport I sucked at. But I got better and better and better, and I loved it more and more. And hey, 4 years later, I'm an instructor, so you never know where things take you.
What triggered actually that passion in you? Like, if it was such a horrible experience in the beginning, why did you keep on
The
doing it?
amazing people I dived with. My instructors, George and Dan, are the most lovely, lovely, lovely people I've ever met. They're beautiful inside and out, and they love it so much. It's their life, it's their passion, and the way they shared it, it was like, I want this so much because I want to be like you guys. And they just took me on this ride because they just opened the school, so it was still a little school, it was very personal. And through them, I met more amazing people. I mean, they're the reason I'm here. George said, you want to do your instructor? Come to Gilly, do it with Mike, because they're friends. And I met all these amazing people, and they're so lovely and so generous. And some things in the scuba industry, sometimes you get a little bit sort of, em and them, and there's a little bit of a sort of, sometimes a bit of a rubbing going on. And the techie boys with the recreational boys and stuff. And I have not experienced that in the freediving world that much. You get it occasionally, but generally everybody was just so lovely, and I just wanted to be like them. So that was it basically.
It's great. That's super. Okay, well, if I'm a complete beginner into diving, what would you recommend me to start from freediving or to start first scuba diving, or does it really matter?
It depends. I would say it depends how comfortable you are in the water. How much pre-experience you have, how much of good of a swimmer you are. If you've done any snorkeling pre-experience. If you're completely new to the ocean, I personally would suggest scuba diving first, because you feel a little bit more security with being able to breathe and to having, yes, it's a lot of equipment you carry around with you, but it gives you a certain, you have a BCD that holds you. That is definitely the intro way in. If you're already comfortable swimming in the sea, if you don't mind, if you can't see the bottom of the sea, then it depends what you want. Do you want to go and explore yourself, explore your mind, find a sport you want to do, or is it more like, I want to see fish, I want to see, anemones, I want to see turtles, all that kind of stuff, a little bit longer. So then you can, talk to people and find out what's more important to you. But as a complete and utter novice to the sea, start with scuba.
I was curious whether you can share also with us a little bit more about the rebreather. There might be a lot of people out there who doesn't know what is a rebreather.
Okay, rebreather. Rebreathers are amazing machines. Basically, you, in layman terms, recycle the air you're using up. In scuba, you breathe in and then you exhale, and the air you exhale gets lost in bubbles to the surface. In a rebreather, you have a loop where the air goes round and round, it gets recycled, and then occasionally a little bit oxygen is added just to make sure that you always have the perfect mix. It's bubble-free diving, hence, yeah, because you don't exhale anything, which makes it very silent diving, and you get a lot closer to marine life. Yeah, this is so much amazing. I came about with rebreather diving possibly slightly different. I was just about thinking of going into technical diving and sort of started my limited Trimax, extended nitrix, all that kind of stuff. And I had a friend in the UK, and he posted, I think it was in January, sort of, yeah, I'm going to Egypt on a liveaboard trip, CCR course, still have a space available. I had nothing to do, yeah, I was on holiday. I was like, all right, I might as well give this a go. I always wanted to do a liveaboard holiday. Yeah, and I do admit it, the main reason I signed up is because I was working in the film industry then. He had 2 cameramen working for the BBC who did the course. I was like, connections, networking, I'm in there. Yeah, so I went on this board and did my Poseidon rebreather course, which was at that point the only recreational rebreather. You know, it wasn't technical, it was open water divers can dive it. Beautiful machine. For me as a girl, easily to use because I can actually lift the thing. Yeah, so I did it and I absolutely fell in love, but I couldn't afford one. Yeah, at that point. So I came back and was like, all right, this is done. Tick the box. Have rebreather ticket. And then a very weird, bizarre thing in my diving career happened. I got bent on a technical dive. Not too many details. Yeah, why and what remains for me to know. But I ended up in the chamber. And I came out and I was suspected to have a PFO, a hole in my heart. Yeah, so I went to see this dive medic in England, and he confirmed, you have a PFO. And I said, all right, what can I do in order to stay diving? I don't give a monkey's that I have a hole in my heart. I'm not coming out of the water. And he was like, do high mix diving, high percentage oxygen mix. So I came out of the hospital 45 minutes after I got diagnosed with a hole in my heart, rang the guy who did my rebreather course and said, I need a machine, sell me one. Yeah, spent £6,000 and owned a rebreather. Went to actually, because nuts as I am and passionate as I was about diving, I was like, all right, I'm going to have the hole closed up. Yeah, I want to stay diving, I want to stay teaching, it's going to get closed. Second opinion of another doctor actually turned out I don't have a hole in the heart, was misdiagnosed. Lucky me, I didn't have to have the operation. But at that point, I owned a rebreather, a twin set, and was just about embarking on my freediving career. So this is what happened in my life, and how I ended up owning a rebreather, which I then subsequently sold to come out here to do my freediving instructor course. So one way of bubble-free diving financed the other way of bubble-free diving. So.
That's neat. Any message you would like to send?
Try it. I can say just try it, and if it doesn't work the first time round, don't give up on it. Especially, I know it happens in freediving as well as scuba diving, if equalization doesn't work. If you like it, and this is what you want to do, you can work on it. For some people, it just takes a little bit longer than for others, but don't give up on it. It is such a rewarding sport. It's such a rewarding industry, and you meet so many amazing people, and it gives you such an amazing reason to go and travel places and see different places. If it's lakes, if it's under the ice, if it's rivers, yeah, just try it and do it. Do it. You don't have to do it professionally, yeah, but as just from once in a while, you see places on this earth you can't see otherwise. And I just can urge everyone to do it, and don't be scared. Yeah, it's not dangerous. It's not dangerous. You just got to keep to the rules. And the most important one for both of them is never dive alone. All right, free diving or scuba diving.